Okay, hi everybody. Welcome again to another English class here on Verbling.com. My name is Lisa and I'm one of the English teachers here at Verbling. Here at Verbling, you can take English classes and you can take Spanish classes and you can also work with private tutors. So we have lots of teachers who are giving private lessons, one-on-one lessons. So if you really want to practice something specific like speaking or preparing for some type of exam, then it's a really good idea to work with one of the teachers one-on-one so that you can have a focused time and really do a lot of work. All the teachers are great and have lots of good experience working with people one-on-one and, of course, in the Verbling classes. So you can check that out if you have some time and you have a need to work one-on-one with somebody. It can be a very good way to help you improve even more quickly because you have that one-on-one working together just one-on-one. So, but if you don't have time for that and you want to just take some classes, then of course take advantage of all the classes that you can take on Verbling. We have classes every hour of the day in English. Sometimes one or two or three classes going at the same time. So if we have a lot of people wanting to take a class, you have choices. It really depends on the time of day and how many people we usually have. You know, as we have more students wanting classes, we add more teachers to that time slot. So if you have a request, if you wish there were more classes at a certain time, you can always tell us and we could do that. So I want to welcome people to class. If you, I think maybe the reservation time is over, so if you had a reservation, it's probably gone, but that's okay because there's plenty of room in the class. You can just click on the Join Class button that's up there and join the class. So hi, Atilio, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Lisa.
Yeah.
And you, thank you.
I'm doing well, thank you. All right. Are you in your home? Or is that an office there?
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
am. I am in my home with my daughter and my wife.
Oh, wonderful. Well, welcome. And where do you live?
I live in Curitiba, a city in South Brazil.
Yeah, okay, cool. I know a little bit about Curitiba because I have had other students from there. So,
Ah, right.
yeah. Curitiba isn't Curitiba known to be like a green city, like recycling and things like that? Yeah.
You're
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
With a lot of parks and uh, green areas
Uh-huh.
like like
Yeah.
like this. Yes.
Yeah. Nice. And the southern part of Brazil is supposed to be very nice as well.
Yes,
The
the
southern
weather.
area. It's
Sure.
good. Okay. Awesome. Well, wonderful. Welcome. We're going to be reading this article. I think you said you already saw it. So I'm going to put it up in the screen share. There might be some other people joining us. Sometimes it takes a little while for people to decide if they're going to join the class and to move from
Sure.
one class to the other. So let me just talk with you a little bit and we will wait and see if anybody else joins us. But Atilio, let me ask you, what do you know about car production in Brazil? Because this article is titled "Why Mexico is Speeding Past Brazil in Cars." So usually Brazil has been making a lot of the cars. Is that true?
Yes, Lisa, in the last decade,
Yeah.
uh, we increase quite our cars production.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the last year, in 2014,
Uh-huh.
uh, we've had some problems with our internal consumption.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because we have had some problems with our economy.
Mm-hmm.
Our medium class are quite are quite involved with some. Let me.
Involved with what?
I'm looking for the mean. Some outgoing expenses.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Such new house, new car,
Yeah.
and the let me. After this crisis,
Yeah.
we had the possibility to buy a new car with many times to pay.
Oh, like with loans, like a loan.
Yes, 120 months, 10
Oh,
years to
oh
pay a
wow, 10-year
car.
loan. Yeah, okay.
Yes, with low
Interest.
interest.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. And now the government cut this
Hmm.
this possibility,
Okay.
and because the production and the cars the sell the sales, the car sales
Yeah.
decrease a lot in the last
Oh,
month.
I see. Yeah, sure. If you can't get a loan, you
Yeah.
won't be able to buy the car. Definitely, that makes it difficult. Yeah, yeah. And I know the cars are very expensive in Brazil already.
You're
Is that right?
right.
Yeah.
Our taxes is very high in Brazil.
Mhm. Mhm.
We pay almost the double for a car because
Wow.
the taxes is very high.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that I imagine people are getting tired of that.
Yes, you're right.
They might be getting mad. Like, we don't want to pay more taxes. Yeah. Okay, let's
Ye-
see. Some people are trying to get into the class and they're having some trouble, so I'm going to quickly write to the technician, the tech guys, to see if maybe they can fix this for them. Uh,
Ok, agora sim.
oh, is it working now? Okay,
It's working
good.
now.
Yeah. Okay. All right, worked for you. Heidi's still having trouble. So let's see if I can help her out.
Yes, you're right.
They might be getting mad. Like, we don't want to pay more taxes. Oops. Okay, looks like people are getting in now. Okay. Okay, good. Maybe somebody was watching and paying attention. Okay, hi guys. Welcome. I'm glad you got it in. You got into the class. Atilio and I were just talking a little bit because I thought maybe some more people would join us for this lesson. So welcome, Carolina.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, good. All right. And Greg, you're coming back for more. Good.
Yes, hi again. I have the same problem like the rest of the people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad it worked out finally. Luckily, the article we're reading is not too long. I think we still have plenty of time to read it.
Yeah.
So let me just say hi to Heidi. Hi, Heidi. Welcome.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you. So we were just talking. Atilio is from Brazil. So this article is about Mexico and Brazil. Sometimes I like to choose articles related to this part of the world because you guys come to this hour of class. And sometimes, Heidi, I should throw in some Japanese stuff sometimes. I never know exactly who is going to come to class, though. So if you ever want to send me a message and give me like a link to an article that you would like to read or an idea for a class, the article we're reading is not, then that's always a possibility too, because I like to hear from people what you want to learn, what you want to talk about, that type of thing. Oh no, some people are having trouble again. Oh gosh. I hope you guys can get back in. That's frustrating, I know. So I don't know what happened. I hope it's not a Google Hangout issue that's going to be affecting the classes. But I'm going to write to these guys. Hold on just a second. Okay. All right, well, let's get started, and hopefully you guys can get back in so you'll have a chance to participate and read along with us. I don't really know what the problem is. Maybe the Verbling guys will be able to help us out if they see that we're having some trouble here. All right, let's get started. Going to the document here. You guys can open this. Everybody who's wanting to read along or watch, you can open that link that goes to the document here.
I'm sorry, I have another problem. I can't open the bubbling chat.
Okay, well, let's just go to the group chat. We can fix that. And I'll type in there now instead. So you can just go there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we'll just keep going along, and if you guys drop out, just refresh, and hopefully it'll work. And we'll just, if you're in the class, then you can read, and if you drop out, you'll come back, get another turn, that kind of thing. So we'll just do the best we can for this hour. All right, so here we go. Why Mexico is speeding past Brazil in cars. It's by these two guys, or well, a guy and a girl, Brendan and Christiana. All right, remember in the 1990s when some Cassandras feared the North American free trade day help Mexico eclipse car production of its higher cost rivals north of the border? 2 decades later, Mexico is making its move, but against another competitor, Brazil. The country is poised to overtake South America's largest nation as the top Latin American automobile producer for the first time in more than a decade. Mexico's ascent is fueled in part by auto sales running at the fastest pace in almost 8 years in the U.S., its largest market. The boom coincides with a slump in Brazilian production through June as its domestic demand cools. That's what Atilio and I were just talking about. Okay, so Atilio, why don't you start us off and read these 2 paragraphs for us.
Remember in the 1990s when some Cassandras feared the North America Free Trade Agreement would someday help Mexico eclipse car production of its higher cost rivals north of the border? 2 decades later, Mexico is making its move, but against another competitor, Brazil. The country is poised to overtake South America's largest nation as the top Latin American automobile producer for the first time in more than a decade. Mexico's ascent is fueled in part by auto sales running at the fastest pace in almost 8 years in the US, its largest market. The boom coincides with a slump in Brazilian production through June as its domestic demand cools.
Okay. So, all right, so it starts off, remember in the 1990s when some Cassandras, so Cassandras here is referring to somebody who kind of says bad things will happen, you know, it's going to be tragic in the future. So it's referring to that type of a person who would say that. So we have NAFTA, NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Agreement. It's called NAFTA for short, if you ever see that. That's an agreement, so free trade, that means that between the different countries, they can trade more freely without a lot of rules and restrictions and extra taxes and things like that. So some people believed that Mexico would eclipse car production. So eclipse means to make more than. So to become bigger than, to, in this case, produce more cars than than us, basically, the U.S., north of the border, which, of course, is a rival. Anytime you have a competitor, you're rivals. But in the United States, it's much more costly. It's much more expensive to build a car nowadays. So that's why they say higher cost rivals north of the border. So north of the Mexican border would be us, the United States. All right, so now 2 decades later, 20 years later, Mexico is making its move. So if you say they're making their move or he is making his move, it means they are acting now. So Mexico is acting now to move ahead of not just the United States, actually, but another competitor, which is the country of Brazil. All right, so the country, Mexico, is poised to overtake. So if you are poised to do something, it means you're ready. So they're in a good position and they are just ready to overtake Brazil, which means, you know, to overtake somebody means to get ahead of them. So Brazil was the largest automobile producer, and now Mexico wants to overtake them. They want to become the largest producer of automobiles for the first time in more than a decade. All right, so this ascent is when you're climbing up a hill. So this movement upward, this increase in automobile production is fueled. This is, you know, it's the reason why the gas that's making it go faster. It's fueled in part by, so somewhat, by the auto sales in the United States. So they're having a very fast pace, the fastest pace. So a lot of people in the United States are buying new cars now because, of course, for the last 6 or 7 years we were in a slump or an economic recession, that kind of thing. But now people are getting better in terms of their finances, and now they're starting to buy new cars again. So that's a very large market, of course. So this boom, the boom is when an economic boom, things are going well, cars are selling. This is coinciding with, so going along together with, so something coincides with something when it's happening at the same time. So while in the United States people are buying more cars, in Brazil people are buying less. So Atilio and I were just talking about that domestic demand cool. So Brazilians are buying less cars. Domestic means in your own country. So a slump is when you go down. So you have the ascent going up, increase, and a slump is when it's not so good in terms of the economy or sales or something like that. All right, people talk about the energy and telecom industries in Mexico, but the auto industry is going to continue as the icon of this country, says Luis Lozano, lead automotive partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Mexico City. Passing Brazil, where output has fallen 17% this year, would vault Mexico to number 7 among the world's auto producers. China is number 1, followed by the U.S. And then we have this little graph here that shows the difference in production this year so far. Okay. Let me go back up there. All right, who's next? Carolina? People talk about.
Okay. People talk about the energy and telecom industries in Mexico, but the auto industry is going to continue as an icon of his country, says Luis Lozano, lead automotive partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Mexico City. Passing Brazil, where output has fallen 17% this year, would vault Mexico to number 7 among the world auto producers. China is number 1, followed by the USA. US.
The
By the
U.S.
US.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's see. All right, so yeah, people are talking about energy, and telecom is short for telecommunications. So that's really big, of course, in Mexico, with one of the billionaires in this world, top billionaires, Carlos Slim, making a lot of money in that industry. But the auto industry is going to continue as an icon. So an icon is like a symbol. It's the big, important symbol of this country. Mexico produces cars, is the idea. Lead automotive partner. So the lead is like a head, the head of something in terms of a business structure. So they're going to be passing Brazil, so going past them in production, because in Brazil, output. So output means how many cars did they produce? Well, they produced less. 17% less this year. So we talk about it as either rising or falling. So it has fallen. So this is the correct verb structure here. Output has fallen 17%. And Mexico, it's gone up, as we can see. And so it puts it in number 7. And I just found this on Wikipedia here, just quickly looking at the producers of automobiles. So here for 2013, it was China, then the European Union, then the US, Japan, Germany, South Korea, India, Brazil, then Mexico. So this is what they're saying. It's probably going to replace Brazil as number 7. That's the idea. Okay.
Yeah, Lisa?
Yeah.
What is vault? Vault?
Where? Oh, vault?
Vault?
Yeah, vault. Okay, so to vault, all right, so that means to launch, kind of like to throw Mexico into number 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you, it comes from like track and field. Let's see if we can, well, that's a vault. That's where you keep your money, but this is the verb to vault. So when somebody, I'll show you, this is vaulting right here. So as you can see, this is called vaulting, and so a person runs and then they leap in and they go up and over. So the idea is that you're like throwing somebody into the air. So the use here is that it's going to push Mexico into number 7, going ahead of Brazil. Yeah, to vault.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The diverging fortunes of Mexican and Brazilian auto production reflect the state of their biggest markets. Because of high labor costs and taxes, Brazil-made cars and trucks are too expensive to send abroad and go mostly to local buyers. Mexican factories export 8 out of every 10 cars they produce, with more than half bound for the U.S. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, Greg.
Okay. Diverging fortunes of Mexican and Brazilian auto production reflect the state of their biggest markets. Because of high labor costs and taxes, Brazil-made cars and trucks are too expensive to send abroad and go mostly to local buyers. Mexican factories export 8 out of every 10 cars they produce, with more than a half bound for the U.S.
Mm-hmm. So diverging. So when we talk about the
Okay.
yeah, leave there. Diverging fortunes. Fortunes means like the luck, or the how much money Mexico has versus Brazilian, or your fortune could also be just whether or not you're doing well, how well you're doing. So they're diverging. They're going like their separate ways. So this idea that they're having different fortunes, Mexico's now going to be doing better than Brazil in terms of auto production. This is reflected in the state of their biggest markets. So in Brazil, like Attilio and I were talking about, they have a lot of taxes, high taxes, but also high labor costs. So labor means your workforce. Who's putting together the cars and how much are the workers? making, so the labor costs are higher there, and so that makes them more expensive. So actually too expensive to send abroad. So most of these cars and trucks are going to local buyers. So that's the domestic market, and then of course they're not buying them as much now. So versus Mexican factories exporting, so sending 80%, 8 out of 10 of the cars that they're making, sending them abroad to, of course, the United States. Half of them are bound for. So if you say I am bound for California, it means that's where you're going. So half of those 80% of the cars that they make are going to the United States. All right. Auto output in Mexico rose 7.4% during the first 6 months of 2014 to 1.6 million vehicles, bolstered by new plants owned by Nissan Motor, and this is just you want to go look at their company. That's the stock market symbol. Honda Motor and Mazda Motor, according to the Mexican Automobile Industry Association, known as AMIA, or AMIA. Brazil's production through June was 1.47 million, reports Anfavea, Brazil's automaker association. Okay, Heidi.
Mm-hmm. Auto output in Mexico rose 7.4% during the first 6 months of 2014 to 1.6 million vehicles, bolstered by new plants owned by Nissan Motor, Honda Motor, and Mazda Motor. According to the Mexican Automobile Industry Association, known as AMIA, Brazil's production through June was 1.47 million, reports Anfavea, Brazil's Automaker Association.
Okay, so that's basically just giving us the information that we saw in this little image here, this little graphic. So basically the output, so the production, rose. So another word is just increased. So it rose or it went up 7.4%. Bolstered by. So bolstered by means supported by. Because they were making new plants, this allowed the production to go up. So there's new auto production plants. That's where they, like factories, that's where they make the cars. And so a couple of different companies, Nissan, Honda, and Mazda, all had new plants there. And that's all according to the different automobile industry associations, and then the Automaker Association in Brazil gave the other figure here. Okay, Mexico's proximity to the U.S. also gives it an advantage, as do labor costs for car makers that are about 20% of U.S. levels, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers. So the broader reason for the big surge is the appeal of Mexico as the production source for North America, says Bill Rinna, Senior Manager of North American Forecasts at LMC Automotive. LMC forecasts Mexico will pass Brazil in 2016. Other researchers put it sooner. Okay, Atilio. Atilio, your microphone is muted. There you go.
Mexico's proximity to the USA also gives it an advantage as to labor costs for car makers that are about 20% of US levels, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers. So the broader reason for the big surge is the appeal of Mexico as the production source for North America, says Bill Rinna, Senior Manager of North American Forecast at the LMC Automotive. LMC forecasts Mexico will pass Brazil in 2016. Other researchers put it sooner.
Okay, so proximity to just means how close something is. So if you are very close to something, that's how we describe it. Your proximity to something. How far away are you? Mexico obviously is very close to the United States, much closer than Brazil. So you cut down on all those shipping costs and things, for example. So obviously that gives it an advantage. So Mexico has an advantage over Brazil in terms of the U.S. market. Of course, the labor costs are cheaper in Mexico. It's pretty, labor's not very expensive there. So the car makers, automotive makers, producers, things like that. We have a couple of different words to describe, companies who make cars. The broader reason, so the kind of like the wider reason, the bigger picture reason for this big surge. Another one is another ascent or increase. So this when a surge happens, it's like a lot of something is increasing a lot. It could be energy, like when you have an electrical surge during a lightning storm or something. But in this case, it's just talking about the production. So it's increasing a lot. Okay. So I think everybody understands that. Forecasts, those are things that we hear about. Researchers, they're looking into what's going to happen in the future, and they make predictions or forecasts. The weather person also makes a forecast, like what's today's weather going to be like? Is it going to be sunny or cloudy or rainy? That's the forecast for the weather. But in this case, this is the forecast for the automotive industry in Mexico and Brazil. They think Mexico will pass in 2 more years, but other researchers put it sooner. So they're saying it is going to be sooner. So they put the date of when this is going to happen sooner. All right, the recent plant openings in Mexico by Honda, Mazda, and Nissan represent a combined investment of $4 billion. And Volkswagen's Audi unit is building a $1.3 billion plant to assemble the luxury Q5 sport utility vehicle. In June, Daimler and said they would produce luxury vehicles, including Infiniti compact cars, at a new $1.4 billion factory in Mexico, the biggest project to date in their 4-year-old partnership. Okay, Carolina? All of that there.
The recent plant openings in Mexico by Honda, Mazda, and Nissan represent a combined investment of $4 billion, and Volkswagen's Audi unit is building a $1.3 billion plant to assemble the luxury Q5 sports utility vehicle. In June, Daimler and Nissan said they would produce luxury vehicles, including Infiniti compact cars, at a new $1 billion factory in Mexico, the biggest project to date in their 4-year-old partnership.
Good. So the recent just means it has happened recently, like maybe this past year, a couple of months ago, something like that. So they have made some new plants, and so we call them plant openings. That just means they have opened new plants, which we read about already in Honda, Mazda, and Nissan companies. And so that represents a combined investment. So altogether, they invested $4 billion in Mexico. Volkswagen, another large auto company, is going to build a plant to assemble. So just to put together. So the way the global economy works now, different parts of your car could be actually manufactured or built in some country and then shipped to like Mexico, where they're just going to put it all together. They're going to assemble this luxury car, the Q5 sport utility vehicle. So that's what we call, for short, SUV. We say sport utility vehicle. All right, so then Daimler, another company, they're going to also produce some more luxury vehicles. Again, this is for the United States market. They have the Infiniti compact cars. The compact is small car. And let's see, biggest project to date. To date means so far. So this will be the biggest project so far in their partnership that they've had for the last 4 years. Check what do we have. Okay. Earlier this month, BMW said it will invest $1 billion in a new factory in central Mexico that will make about 150,000 cars annually. Whatever is made there can be exported to any of the more than 40 countries that have free trade agreements with Mexico, including the U.S., says Augusto Amorim, analyst for South America at IHS. Brazil has logged some new plants of its own. In April, Nissan opened a $1.5 billion complex in Resende, and Chery Automobile has a $530 million factory in Sao Paulo state that will start production this year, marking the Chinese automaker's first major investment outside its home country. Oh, wow. China's coming to Brazil. Okay. Heidi. Wait, was it Greg's turn? Sorry.
Okay.
I think it's Greg. And then... Okay, Greg. There you go. And then Heidi. Sorry about that.
Earlier this month, BMW said it will invest $1 billion in a new factory in central Mexico that will make about 150,000 cars annually. Whatever is made there can be exported to any of the more than 40 countries that have free trade agreements with Mexico, including the US, says Augusto Amorim, analyst for South America at IHS. Brazil has logged some new plants of its own. In April, Nissan opened $1 billion complex in Resende, and Chery Automobile has a $530 million factory in Sao Paulo state that will start production this year, marking the Chinese automaker's first major investment outside its home country.
All right. Okay, so more companies investing more money, so in new factories or plants. So it could be a factory or a plant, same kind of thing, in central Mexico. So they're going to produce annually. That means every year, 150,000 cars every year. And whatever is made there, so whatever type of car or anything, truck, whatever, it can be exported. So it can be sent abroad to more than 40 different countries. What if your country belongs to NAFTA, the free trade agreement, then you can do that. Or actually, it might not be NAFTA. It might be some other free trade agreement that your country has with Mexico. So it could be any, a lot of different countries could get their cars from Mexico. All right, so Brazil has logged. So when you say has logged, it's kind of like a work term. You log hours or you log projects. I mean, you just get them done, or you put them on the books, or you're planning to do them. So they've also had some, you could say that Brazil has also had some new plants built in Brazil. Okay, so Nissan, and this is interesting, the Chery Automobile, which is from China. So they're going to start production this year. That will be the first major investment. So major meaning big or significant investment outside of China, so outside of its home country. All right, yet as Mexico's auto exports have advanced 9.7% this year, Brazil's shipments have fallen 37%, and Brazilian consumers have slowed purchases because of tighter credit. We talked about that, and a weakening economy. That's one reason IHS is forecasting Mexican auto output this year of almost 3.2 million, ahead of Brazil's 3.17 million. The bottom line, with labor costs just 20% of those in the U.S., Mexico could pass Brazil to become the #7 auto producer. Okay, Heidi.
Yet, as Mexico's auto exports have advanced 9.7% this year, Brazil's shipments have fallen 37%, and Brazilian consumers have slowed purchases because of tighter credit and weakening economy. That's one reason IHS is forecasting Mexican output this year of almost 3.2 million, ahead of Brazil's 3.17 million. The bottom line, with labor costs just 20% of those in the U.S., Mexico could pass Brazil to become the number 7 oil producer.
So again, exports, so they can send these cars abroad, and they have advanced. So another way to say increase. So to advance means they've had more and more, so 9.7 more just this year. But unfortunately for Brazil, their shipments. So a shipment is when you send a car or something, some product or something, and you send it or ship it somewhere else. That's called a shipment. Usually for cars, it's on these big boats, you know, shipping ships. That's how you ship things, is by ship. And they have fallen, so decreased or declined 37%. And the reason is, Attilio and I were talking about this. He told me that it's harder to get a loan. So that's what we mean here by tighter credit. So usually, you know, a bank would give you a loan pretty easily to buy a car. Attilio, you told me 10 years to 120 months to pay off your car. Here in the United States, it's about you can get 5-year loans usually to buy a car, depending on how much money you put down and all that type of stuff. So Brazilians are having a harder time getting loans, and also they have a weaker economy. Weakening means it's getting weaker, so it is becoming weaker, you know, for many different reasons. So purchases have slowed. Slowed means decreased, and people aren't going out and buying as much new stuff nowadays. So yeah, that's the situation. And the bottom line, so whenever you say the bottom line, it means like this is the main point here. This is the most important thing. Labor costs are just 20% of those in the U.S. So that just means that a worker in Mexico makes only 20 cents on the dollar, let's say, 20% of what an American person would be making who works in the same industry. So obviously that is a big difference in terms of how much it costs to produce the same item, the car. So that's one reason why, or a major reason why, Mexico can pass Brazil, because they're paying their workers a lot less money. So I don't know how long that can last. Usually that doesn't last forever. As people get wealthier, they want to have better salaries and stuff, so we'll see. I found this graph I wanted to show you guys quickly too, and then we can discuss this. This is actually from 2010, so just in 4 years it's changed a lot. So Mexico, you can see in 4 years Mexico's come up some, but really Brazil's kind of dropped back. So China, on the other hand, is still, I don't know what they are now, but wow, in 2010 they were producing a lot of cars, in Japan as well, but a lot more is happening in China right now with the Chinese economy being stronger, more and more Chinese people being able to afford cars. So what do you guys think about this? Carolina, coming from Brazil, what do you think about this situation? Do you hear about it in the news in Brazil?
Yes, yes. There are many factories that are given, I don't know how to say, forced vacation for employees because of the decrease.
Yeah.
It's right, said forced vacation?
Well, yeah, it could be. They're forced to take they're forced to take leave, maybe.
Some kind of leave. Yeah.
Yeah, to take leave. Yeah. So, are they actually fired or let go, or are they just like waiting to see if they will come back to work?
Waiting to see if the situation will get better.
They, you know, that's what happened to the U.S. government workers last year when the government couldn't decide on a budget, and so a lot of people were kind of like on leave, we said, or temporarily like laid off, like they didn't know when they could come back to work. They were just being on hold, kind of. Yeah, it's not a good thing.
But here, cars are very expensive.
Yeah.
It's so many taxes, and a simple car, a basic car
Yeah.
with if, with air or
Mhm.
electric windows, it's expensive. So it's very difficult to buy a car here without spend a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I know Brazil is going to have some elections next month, and so I
Yeah.
know maybe some politicians might be saying what's going to happen in the future. I wonder if they're talking about this type of thing because it seems like Brazil needs to figure out maybe a different tax system or something
Yeah.
because the taxes
Yeah.
seem to really be difficult, you know,
Yeah.
for people.
But this problem is it's old here.
Oh, okay.
It-
It's not being taken care of then.
no, until now.
Oh, okay, not until now. Yeah, I was trying to see if we could see what the prices might be on one of these cars, but I'm not
Yeah.
finding it.
One car like this is
Uh-huh.
about um,
Here we go.
30 yes, one real here.
Yeah.
It's about $2.50.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
So it's like twice as much?
yes, twice. And
Okay.
and much more.
Yeah. Wow.
And
Well,
this car is very simple, as you can see.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's a very simple car. Definitely. Okay. Wow. And that would also be considered like what a Brazilian worker makes, you know, who could afford new cars, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be too expensive for the people who, you know, like not as many people can afford that. Especially like Tilio was saying about the loans. If you can't get a car loan, then that's really impossible, you know, to buy a car with cash or
The,
something, you know.
the
Yeah, definitely.
interest to get a loan is very high too.
The what?
The interest
Oh,
interest
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. The
to get
interest.
a loan is very
Uh-huh.
high too.
Yeah. Yeah. Heidi, I'm always wondering how this type of thing affects the markets in Japan because Japan is a leading automaker. So when you hear about this type of stuff, where Mexico, Brazil increasing production, that type of thing, does the Japanese auto industry kind of change a little bit or take note or something? Do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure about the American situation because it's very far from Japan.
Yeah.
But the biggest destination of Japanese investment was China. Maybe this graph showed. It's
Uh-huh.
a little old until 3 years ago.
Oh,
But China
okay.
has a lot of problems.
Uh-huh.
The rate is always increasing because they have strike many times.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes they have riots against Japan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And another matter is the air pollution or water pollution. It's very bad. It's very bad. Then the investment from Japan is moving to Thailand or Indonesia.
Oh, okay.
So maybe this graph is changing. China and investment for China is decreasing.
Oh, okay. So what about are there cars actually produced in Japan still?
Yes, even
Yeah.
in Japan.
Right.
Now, not Nissan, Honda, and Toyota is preparing another vehicle, the hydrogen car.
Oh, okay.
They will
Yeah.
run next year.
Oh.
it's a lot of secret information, so they should produce in Japan.
Okay. Yeah, because I think, Japanese car companies are investing in many different countries, but also even in Japan, they still make a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in Japan, are people still buying new cars, or are these cars being exported?
Oh, no, I heard the car sales is getting better. Before, Japanese economy was very bad. Now it's getting better. And the Japanese people's labor wages get increasing. So they traveled abroad again and buying a car and houses.
Okay. I'm wondering, in Japan, which car manufacturer seems to be the most popular? Is it Honda, Toyota?
Yeah, Toyota.
Toyota.
The biggest, yes.
Okay, Toyota. Yeah.
Secondly, the Honda.
Yeah. Greg, does Poland make cars? I thought they did.
Yes, in many places.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Greg.
Okay. Well, in the past there were some factories who specialized in the production of the cars. I know that there are some factories that produce some specific parts for the cars, and there's some company who actually belongs to the United States and others countries. So what I note, so actually we don't have own cars anymore, and if we have it, there's a budget is quite limited. I don't know too much detail because I don't have own car. So I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. Well, it looks like maybe a while ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it was actually pretty big. It says Poland is the second largest producer of light vehicles, passenger cars, in Central and Eastern Europe. So, in terms of the area, yeah.
I know that some companies, I don't know, there's the Wolf in the past who actually left our country.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know that, I don't know, there's something like TRV, there's actually the part of one of the companies in the United States.
Yeah. What about, living in England? You said you don't have a car, so how do you get around?
My father had a car.
Oh, okay.
But I cannot rely on him.
Well, how was it getting used to driving on the left side?
Well, I don't have a driving license. Right. So, but even if I don't have, I always go to the wrong side.
Yeah. Heidi, in Japan, you guys also drive on the left side, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. The same as England.
Same as England. Yeah, that's interesting. Why is that? Do you know why that is?
When the automobile, the vehicles came to Japan, the Japanese government imported that system from England.
Oh, okay. So imported the system from England. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Well, I just wanted to share with you guys too. We didn't watch this, but where I'm gonna see what it is. Yeah, there's always an advertisement these days. If you want it, this might be interesting. If you like this topic, there's another little video in here about this topic. Might be fun to listen to. It's 2 minutes long about. But I got this article from Bloomberg Business Week. So if you guys like articles about business and these different topics related to kind of business, so technology, market and finance, that type of stuff, Bloomberg Business Week is pretty good to find this kind of these kind of articles related. It's kind of like it's pretty popular. Also, I have some students from Brazil who they like to read.
Okay.
Business Week and stuff. Yeah, great.
I think we have something like we'll be having, or maybe we'll have on type of cars which come back from the past, but I don't know the details of this actually.
Oh yeah, like what kind?
And I passed the link.
Oh yeah, let me see. Okay.
It will be a competition for Toyota.
Oh, Toyota competition. Well, it's always interesting because we've done a class also. Oh, nice. I don't know if you guys have heard of Tesla. I've done one class on it, but Tesla is an all-electric vehicle. So this is another kind of, in the future, more and more people might want to have all electric cars instead of gas, relying on gas and oil and things like that. So this is one company here in the United States that is somewhat popular. They're not cheap. They're quite expensive for the average person, but maybe in the future they will come down in price or something. So
electric cars?
Yeah, 100% electric.
I was wondering when we can actually have a car and don't have to worry how to drive.
The smart car? Yeah, the Google Smart Car. That we've done some classes on that too. That's coming in the future as well. Actually, it's already here. They already have these cars, and they go around the Bay Area and different places, and they drive automatically by themselves through satellite information. And so they've been testing them and making different models. But yeah, it's called the smart car or the driverless car. And people who live in the San Francisco Bay Area, they've seen them around. That's where they're testing them more and more.
Nice. It doesn't look like this prototypes, we can say, that we see in the movies.
No.
Similar to the spaceships.
You're right. No, not a spaceship. They have a satellite connection thing right here, and they're pretty amazing. They're, some people think they're safer than human drivers because they don't make mistakes. So I don't know.
I'm not sure if they do not make mistakes.
Right. Yeah, you have to rely on satellite technology, I guess. You have to trust that. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, anybody have any questions or comments? Tilio, did you want to comment on anything? Maybe Brazilians have to go buy more cars now. The car is a big investment. That's the problem.
I think we need more time to buy a new car.
Yes, more time. More money, more time. Yes. Carolina, right. Do you have a car?
I don't have a license.
Oh, wow. So how do you get around? Just bus or walking or what?
Metro?
Metro?
Metro,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Metro.
Yeah, that's nice. It's nice if you don't even have to have a car.
Now I don't need a car now because I use Metro to work, but when I have kids, maybe I need to buy a car, but now I don't need.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Heidi? Do you have a car?
No, I don't have any car, but my husband has.
Oh, he has one. Okay.
My husband is a big fan of Honda.
Honda. Okay. Yeah, Hondas are very popular in the United States too.
Yeah, I'm told that they're very serious, so very good.
They're very good. Yeah.
Honda is for bad guys.
I had a Honda when I was younger. I had a Honda Civic. It was a nice car. Yeah. I have a Nissan now, and I've had Toyotas before as well. So yes. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for coming to class. Our time is up, so I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.